But I think the one thing that we can say is that it's building that relationship between you and the young one. And once you've got that relationship with them, those kids and any kids will do anything for you. For a lot of my builders, like over the years, if we've had to do functions or we've had to serve others in that, if I say, hey man, we've got to be here at 5 o'clock in the morning, yo, we'll be there, sir. I'm like, cool. We've got a function till about 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, we'll be there, sir. We're all good. And I think that's where some of our builders, when they're bringing in young generation, need to start with build a relationship with them. Because once you got that relationship, they'll do anything, and they don't have to be paid. I think that's the thing that you got to realize. None of our building academy kids get paid for building these houses. They do it all for the knowledge. And if I can get kids at year 12 and year 13 to build these houses without being paid, when you're paying them, you can get them to do 100 times what they can actually do.
What is success to you?
I think it was a learn to love it experience.
And there's always pitfalls that you can fall in, but then you've got no one else to blame but yourself.
Number one thing if you're struggling is to catch up with people about it.
Hey, Luke, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We've obviously been chatting with Builders Academy, who's one of our Better Builder apprentice sponsors, and they've been going on and on about having you on for a while now, just around all the good work you guys are doing. Now, I'm going to let you introduce sort of what you do. Maybe you can tell me a little bit, because we didn't go into it before the podcast, which is actually a good thing. So I can hear it all live, But I know that you work at Massey School, and I know that you help young guys that are thinking about getting into building at school age. You guys have like an epic program there that you've kind of partnered with Builders Academy with, and I think this will be super helpful for people who may have kids that are maybe thinking of getting into building, or even like young, there might be some teenagers, whatever, listening to this as well that might find this quite helpful around Auckland as well. So tell me a bit about what you do and sort of how you got into it, Luke.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of giving a little bit of history. So I obviously when I left school, I kind of got into a little bit of building, a little bit of renovation, played a bit of footy, went overseas, came back, and then actually joined the police force for a little while. And that kind of went for a bit, then left. My wife now, my partner at the moment, my wife, she actually decided she wanted to get into teaching. And so she went and did her master's in teaching, and she went to Massey High School and got a job there. During the time she was there, she saw the Building Academy. And at the time I was building, I was back at renovations and stuff like that. So I was sort of on the tools again. And she said, oh man, I really want you to come and work and teach. And I kind of looked at her and went, right, I can't teach. Are you crazy? I'm not working with kids.
Were you the police at the time?
No, so I left policing and I'd gone back to building. I was working with my cousin at the time. And it was kind of just something I was just doing. Obviously, long hours. And we had 4 kids of our own. And so we were kind of, she just said, I think you'd be really good at this. And I was kind of like, oh yeah. So she kind of asked my boss if her husband could come in for an interview. You need someone to come in. At first he was kind of a bit skeptical. He didn't actually want me, which was kind of funny. We still laugh about it now, just because of the journey that we've had with it. Got into teaching, turned up, and I think my first week on site was really cool. Obviously, the Building Academy had started back in 2012, and they were only building one house. When I joined, it was 2019. They had just got their first contract with Kaingaora, and they were then doing relocatable houses for access able. Yeah. So it was really, obviously pretty cool to be able to build houses on site, which was something that was pretty massive. I don't think I'd ever seen any schools that kind of had it.
Yeah. So do you want to explain how that all works?
Yeah. So like I said, it started back in 2012. They were only building one house at the time. And a lot of the kids that were involved in that were sort of last chance. Basically, they weren't doing well in class. Attendance wasn't great. they were sort of just dumped down there and kind of said, okay, you're going to go to building because there's nothing else for you. 2019, they had just started a contract with Kainga to build homes for them. It first started with 2 houses. There was myself and one other teacher that joined the crew. We had 3 of us, and 2 of us were teachers, and myself, I just kind of started, never taught in a class before. And then we had 1 full-time builder. We started building the houses, and the kids that were there were pretty rough. The first week I was on there was a big scrap on the scaffolding. So it was kind of, I guess it was exactly what they explained it was. It was the rough of the roughest, the toughest of the school, but kind of the last hope. And so kind of fast forwarding over the years, I wanted to, and I guess we wanted to change the concept of the building academy and what it really was meant to be for. And so something that I worked with my wife quite a bit and with the school, just kind of giving the building academy a better identity and trying to instill a few more values that we didn't have before. We over the couple of years, it sort of started to grow even more. We got more kids. We'd get probably about 60 kids on site.
Okay.
And so we have 2 levels, a year 12 group and a year 13 group. They were full-time. So basically at year 11, you choose that subject and you come into us full-time. And that's it. You don't go to any other classes. You basically stay with us all day, every day, 5 days a week. And basically we teach you how to do everything from foundations to profiling to putting the floor together, putting joists together, framing, trusses, right up until basically finishing lines. So we'll teach the kids how to do hanging doors, how to put the actual locks in and stuff like that. So it's a pretty full, intense sort of, I guess it's kind of like almost teaching your first year apprentices everything that they need to do. So year 12, we kind of focus on the basic of construction. So we'll teach them all the knowledge part. They'll still build a house, but more focused on actually gaining that knowledge of what we're actually doing. Year 13 kind of steps up a little bit. They sort of do a little bit more of the actual project management style. So they actually learn a bit about how to actually run the project, time schedules, quantities, like actually, ordering stuff, how to work with subcontractors, which is whether that's electrical or plumbing guys, the roofies, just actually learning that side of the actual business of building and that. It's quite a bit. There's probably a lot more in-depth stuff that we go through. So we kind of run the building academy similar to a construction site, similar to a normal building site where you have your small building crews. And what we do with those building crews is we do sort of like a tool container program. And so we focus a lot on building leaders. I guess, not to sort of say that being a laborer is not worthy, but I want to get that concept of excellence into them. So trying to strive for something a little bit higher. So I say to them, hey, look, I'm here to build head builders, project managers, site managers. Anybody can train a laborer, but if you want to push your ability to that, and that's kind of just changing their mindset from being not so good in classroom to being good in another area.
Yeah.
It's just kind of just pushing them. Like I said, we run a sort of a tour kind of trainer program now, where our year 13s actually train our year 12s. So what we do is we, at the beginning of the year, we try and have a blank canvas, so there's no houses on site. And then basically we give the year 13s the set of plans, and then basically this is your house. And so you're going to look after this house. So one of our values that we do is servant leadership. So because we work with Kainga, we know that those houses are for people that need them. And so we teach them a little bit about why Kainga needs these houses and what they're for and who they're going to be living in them. So we need those kids start learning, we're serving people that are actually needing these homes. And then once they get that, again, like the year 13s, they get given the plans, they get that responsibility. So once they actually have responsibility of something, they're kind of like, oh, gee, this is ours. Okay, we're going to see this through the end. Cool. And along with that, the year 12s are on board with that in the sense of having the responsibility as well to that home. But they don't take so much of the leadership stuff. They're kind of, theirs is kind of just sort of working with the year 13s and learning how to lead.
Yeah.
And then once they have that responsibility, they start to get a little bit of purpose behind what they're kind of doing, why they're actually here. And so one of the biggest things that we noticed that the guys that are coming from mainstream into building academy is their attendance. Their attendance is pretty low. I mean, the lowest I've had, I think, is about 27%
Wow.
attendance in mainstream.
Yeah.
So that works out to be about 1 day a week for their entire year.
Yeah. And I think they say when it's like less than 3 days a week, they pretty much see you as like you're not engaged at all, right?
Yeah. And it's kind of one of those things, and that's the whole purpose behind it. So giving them purpose to actually be at school. So once they have that responsibility, they kind of realize, oh man, I actually have something I have to be here for. And so you see their attendance go from 27 to 97 to 100%. I think the lowest I've got this year is around about 80%, which is kind of something we kind of strive for every year. It's kind of, we see kids that come in that don't have much attendance to almost being there majority of the time. And I guess that's getting them ready for work life and making sure that they're at work every day. And then once they get that responsibility, once they get that purpose, basically it's then just putting a bit of pride and mana into the actual work. Because these houses are like, they're all consented, so they get all inspected. So everything has to be up to code. And so it's teaching them a little bit about that as well. So they don't do exams, but their exams are their inspections. And it's kind of interesting. Most of the kids will know if they do watch this, is that majority of the time I'll walk around with the inspector. I'll tell them what is expected before the inspection. And then when we get to inspection, they'll wait either at the lunchroom or in the classroom, and they'll see me walk out and they'll either go yes or no. And if they see the no, they're like, oh man, what did we get wrong? So we're going to lose it.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's one of those things. We just try and treat it like a building site. We try and get them ready for Mahi and that. But those are our sort of values that we kind of work with in the building academy. And we just kind of see the growth in the kids.
That's cool. I'm loving because I didn't know about this until Builders Academy. You know, obviously it's Builders Academy. You guys are Building Academy associated. Until the guys at Builders Academy kind of talk to me about what you guys do and like the epic work you do. Because like a lot of guys, you know, are sort of floundering. They kind of they don't know what to do, you know, and they don't have a lot of direction sometimes. And then sometimes they just leave. And that's kind of dangerous as well. They leave school, and then maybe they get in with a builder, maybe they don't, maybe they meet a builder out there that they don't vibe with, and then before you know it, they do nothing, or they get up to no good or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think just having almost like catching them like while they're at school is a great way to be like, well, at least if nothing else, let's see if you really enjoy this. And if you do, then, you know, we're going to train you up, and all the leadership elements are great as well. So what people are going to think is, okay, cool, so you got these bunch of kids building these houses. Do these houses last? Do they fall apart? You hand them over and just go. And how many kids like are involved with building a house?
Yeah, so we previous years when we first started, we'd have like sort of about 60 kids on site.
Jeepers, a lot.
So it's a lot of kids, and I think that's where our school backs the program, especially Mr. Feely and you know, obviously Mr. Denham before him. They were real big on what the academy were able to sort of, you know, provide for our kids. And so many other schools have kind of grown from our sort of academy. Being one of those things where we kind of sown the seed at Massey, and it's just kind of blossomed through different other schools and kind of taken off.
So this is like, so there's multiple other schools now that do similar
there's
program.
Quite a few schools now throughout the country, which has kind of been, you know, obviously Massey was kind of the first, and everybody sort of just came seeing what we were doing. And I guess, like you were saying, do the houses fall over in that? No, they don't. Like I said, they're all consented, so they have all the inspections, like full inspections and that, and they have to go through CC and that. So, like I said, we teach the kids how to use all the gear. We'll teach them how to use pretty much every tool. There's only 2 tools that the ministry don't allow us to use, or teach the kids, sorry. But pretty much everything else, from nail guns to skillies to saber saws to multi-tools, you pretty much can name any power tool the kids have used it. And I think that's what kind of separates these kind of type of kids. A lot of builders that we've sent kids to, they're kind of seeing them come out and they're like, they're school kids. I'm like, just trust them, just give them a shot. They will impress you more than you think you can. Some kids, obviously, not every kid is going to be a builder, and that's fine. And we sort of try and figure that out over the 2 years. But yeah, they pretty much learn how to do everything properly. So most of us builders, there's 5 of us on site. We all come from building backgrounds. We have one female builder on site, which has been awesome for our female girls that have, we've been trying to get into the building academy. But yeah, we've all had building backgrounds, whether it's renovations, where it's construction. It's kind of, we've all had a taste of everything.
Yeah.
And so we just try and pass all our knowledge on as much as we can before they leave us. And so most of these guys should be walking out, I guess, into their sort of second year apprentice.
Okay.
And so that's kind of I guess for us, and I guess for the builders that do pick up our kids, we try and, I guess, prune the stuff that, usually they have to do on site. So whether it's turning up on time, actually wanting to do this as a career, giving them a few life skills that will kind of help them, be on site. And we have it every year. There's usually one student that kind of goes to work and it doesn't work out. And we're kind of like, okay, what else can we do? What else is there? You've got some, good skills. What else can you use?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what we try and do as well.
Better Builder Apprentice is brought to you by our friends at Builders Academy. Builders Academy is New Zealand's newest apprentice provider, and they definitely here to shake things up. Why use Builders Academy? Well, first of all, they're just as good as the other guys, but on top of that, they will come on site every 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, that's quite a lot, right? That means that your apprentices will be a lot more engaged, and they'll have to learn a lot less modules in between trainer visits. Secondly, they are backed by master builders. And thirdly, they have an experienced and motivated team that knows the industry inside and out. In fact, most of them are ex-chippies. Just go to buildersacademy.co.nz. So the second last year of school, a bit of theory, like then getting into start to building a bit. Last year of school, then they're really they get given a set of plans, then they're all into it. And so from there onwards, I know that I talked to the guys from Builders Academy, and they said that they then can credit some of that experience and into an apprenticeship. How does that work for a student?
So we do. They still obtain their level 2s and level 3s NCA, and that obviously we do more construction sort of unit standards in that. But a lot of the work that they do, they can cross-credit over to their apprenticeship. It's just making sure that we tick off that knowledge stuff. And a lot of the practical, like I said, they do flooring, trusses, framing, which is a lot of the basic, stuff that you do in your apprenticeship anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't touch steel. We don't do as much concrete or foundation stuff. But we do teach them about it, the knowledge sort of side of things. So they do walk out with quite a bit of that sort of, I guess like I said, it's that knowledge-based stuff. And then when they get into the actual practical stuff, when they go on site and they do it at a much higher volume, they're obviously learning much quicker and pick it up faster than probably your, just someone who's just walking in for the first time. You've got to spend almost 3 years trying to actually build all of that up, where I guess the guys that are coming out of the Building Academy have already done that. They're already at that stage where you're kind of like, okay. And a lot of our kids do come out and they do go on site, and a lot of the builders, not all the builders, but just some of them, the kids will ring me and they're like, "Sir, I'm literally been on the end of a broom for the last month." And I sort of do prep them for that. And I'm saying, look, all they're trying to do is obviously build your trust. And everybody starts on the end of a broom. Everybody starts on the end of a shovel. And we try and prep them for that. But I think it's just that environment, because they've been, throwing so much at them. They're like, here, build this, build this, build this. It's just getting the builders to just kind of, when they see these kids, trust them. They've got the skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just
it's a bit of a culture shift, right? Because they're just used to people coming from nothing, not being around a building site, not knowing. They say, go get a skilly out of the van. They don't even know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the culture, the mentality. These guys coming on here don't know anything. Now you have all of a sudden, it's kind of weird. It's kind of different. You have like a generation of some guys that's actually built part of a team of 60, but they've built a house before, and they've been around a building site, and they understand a lot more. Now they have to navigate that, right? So I think as time goes on, it will probably be just people get more clued on.
Yeah, and I think that's probably just, obviously part of all this is kind of just, putting a bit of light on it so that they can see these kids coming out of school. And I guess it's similar to if a kid was go to university, they've done all this training through school, they're going to university now, they'll have the knowledge that they can use the university, but you don't see the professors telling them, oh, you don't know anything. Well, I've learned a little bit at school. Now I want to learn a little bit more. So I think it's just, for our kids, it's changing their mindset as well and being like, this is your university, this is your paper, get your ticket, and then you can be successful in life. And I guess, it's just building up more confidence into, just into the industry that these kids that are coming out of school, especially out of academies and that, actually know what they're doing. And,
What are some of the elements that some of these young guys have when they come through that you're just like, this guy's gonna, just seeing like him having this, and this means he's going to do well through this program? Is there can you sort of pinpoint a few of those sort of elements that the guys have that do well?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do at Massey is myself and one of our other builders, we've just become qualified teachers.
Cool.
So when we first started, we were builders. So it was real hard to teach. So we were pretty lucky. I was put through a course that kind of helped me become a teacher, and it was kind of designed around people like myself who were qualified in building or in those type of fields that worked in schools, which Teach First kind of helped me get to. And so by doing that, it kind of gave me the opportunities it helped me develop the skill to teach the kids, because it was real hard to get from practical to theory sort of style. But once I learned how to teach and kind of got that background and actually got that training, and what we did with the building academies is we kind of treated it exactly like a classroom. So we had our excellent students, we had our merit students, and then we had our achieved guys. And so what we did with that was through your year 12 year, we kind of watch you and we kind of observe and we kind of see, okay, this kid's he's pretty good. You can give him a job and he doesn't even flinch. He's kind of like, yep, sweet, I'll see that. Oh, sir, I've made a mistake. How do I fix it? And I think that's the biggest thing about the Building Academy is it allows them to make mistakes. It means that we have to have a slightly bigger budget for the mistakes they haven't. But it's an environment that they can make those mistakes and allow them to make those mistakes so that they can learn from it. Obviously, we try and teach them to minimize it as quickly as you can, because then obviously when they go on site, they're not going to be able to make those many mistakes. But like I said, we try and teach it like an actual classroom. So excellent students, so we'll have a building crew, we'll set them up into their building crews, we'll get their leaders, and then we'll find the year 12s that are kind of going to work with these guys. And basically what they do is we push them to a level where they're like second or third year apprentices. So they basically are left to their own. So I'll kind of oversee those guys where I'll kind of go in, okay, what's our job? What are we doing today? They'll tell me what they're doing. I'm like, okay, cool, we're onto flooring or we're onto framing. And so they'll tell me what's expected. They might get a little bit lost, but I'll kind of just go, okay, cool, you need to do this, this, and this. And they're like, oh yeah, cool, I remember, know what I'm doing. And I can kind of come in and out and flow in with them. With our merit guys are kind of the ones that we can go in, guide a little bit, but they know what they're doing. They just kind of need someone there to just make sure, oh yeah, cool, I'm on track. This is what I'm doing. I know how to stand up a frame. I know how to, the dodger blocks need to be here. Oh, I can read the plans. The fixings need to be here. So the excellent guys can do pretty much everything, and they don't need too much guidance. They just kind of need someone to be on site with them. And then our achieved guys, it's a little bit slower based. So a bit more one-on-one with the builders, a bit more time spent on actual walking them through every step. And so that's kind of where we kind of tell who's ready for a bit more intense. So we kind of make sure that when we partner the kids up with a builder or going out to work, we kind of say, okay, the excellent guys, just give them the plans, they'll be fine. Yeah. That's sweet. The achieved guys, maybe the merit guys, you could probably do the same. You just might need to be there a bit more often. And then the achieved guys, hey, I need a builder that's going to be a little bit more patient. a little bit more time on their hand where they can actually spend a bit more time with that that builder. So yeah, that's kind of how we sort of operate the Building Academy. And so it's been, it's pretty cool to kind of see how the levels all sort of work. But then it also kind of pushes the kids that are in Achieve, seeing these guys, oh, why is Sir not on their side as much as our side? And it's kind of one of those things, it's like, because that's the level I want you guys to get to. All right, let's try and push. And so they, everybody, it's kind of not a competition, but they see, there's a level of excellence. Let's try and push to that. So it just gives them, I guess, because in class, in a normal classroom, that's how it is. You see, achieve your excellence. Teachers are trying to teach you at an excellent level. We're building, it's just only come in the last couple of years where it's kind of worked like that. And we've seen it sort of work with some of the kids previous years. And then I've kind of got to the end of the year 12 year and I'm going, bro, there's no point coming into year 13 because you are so ready for work, you might as well go. And they've been like, oh, cool, thanks, sir. Ready to go. And so, that's kind of how I think we kind of, operate,
That's
seeing
good.
who kind of sees ready for work. So,
do you guys get any, I don't know, maybe you're not at that stage yet, maybe you are, but do you guys get any feedback from builders out in the field? Because I can kind of see like builders listening to this going, oh, this is interesting. Being able to hire a guy, an apprentice straight out of, say, Massey, and they've already have a lot of those foundations be beneficial. But then some of them maybe are skeptical and be like, it's just going to be, they just probably just spoon feed a little bit. So has there been builders that sort of left, gone to work for a for a building company, and then you guys got some feedback around, hey, these guys are great here, but maybe not so good in these other areas? Yeah,
I've done it for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. I've always, when I send the kids out, and we always try and reach out to the builders, and I'm like, hey, how they're doing? Can you give us any feedback on what they've done? We try and, so I'll take it back to our team and say, hey guys, this is what some of the builders have said. One of the main ones was the cut one piece, install it, cut one piece, install it. And so it was kind of like, oh, okay, let's just make sure that kids learn that, okay, measure all your pieces up, cut all your pieces, take it over, put it all in. And some, and that was something we kind of, even I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell the kids that. And I'm like, oh man. And it's real, like for us, it's good feedback that any builders give us and say, hey, maybe do this with the kids. I'm like, okay, cool, sweet, let's put that in. Because we want to make sure that we're up to this, because obviously us builders are inside of school, we're probably not as, out in the field and actually learning all the new stuff that's coming through. We try and keep up with a lot of the new stuff that's coming in so the kids are knowledgeable about that. I do ring a lot of the builders and be like, how are the kids doing? I try and catch up with even the students. So one of the biggest things about the Building Academy is that we try and treat it like a whānau, so like a family.
Cool.
We're real big on that, where the kids can always come back. They can always come back and visit us. And we do. We have kids come through all the time and they're like, oh, sir, I miss school. I miss, being here. Man, I wish I'd done this and done that. And I'm like, cool, man, tell the kids that are here because you're out there, tell these guys. So we always try and get kids to come back and let the guys know what's going on out, in the workforce, what to look out for, what tripping hazards they can actually end up in, not just on the work site, but in life itself. So that it kind of guides them as they leave and just kind of helps them through all those different things. And the school's really big on that. The school, like Mr. Feely's real big and he's real, kind of backs us on allowing the kids to do that. So they'll see them walk through and I might walk past our principal and he's like, oh, I saw one of the builders in before. And I was like, oh yeah, they've just come down to, a majority of it's just kind of like just a circle, and they come back in, reset themselves, and then they go back out. I'm like, oh, all good. I usually tell our year 12 guys at the beginning of the year, I'm like, during February and March, we always have kids coming back. A lot of it is just a reset. And that's kind of how the Building Academy has kind of changed from what it used to be like to what it is now. So first time, it was like I guess it was a bit like a prison
environment.
So it was like a prison environment. Everybody was dressed in orange. And so one of the first things when I kind of got sort of the role as sort of the head builder there, head manager, is something that we kind of wanted to do we all kind of wanted to do was kind of shift from that uniform and try and put a bit of pride in the actual academy. So I got a couple of ex-students to design the time walkers on our shirt.
Yeah, it's cool. I noticed that when you walked in. I was like, yeah, that's really cool.
So we kind of changed and we sort of gave it back to our students to design something for us. So 2 ex-students designed it for us. And it was really cool when they came up with it. And the story behind it was kind of encompassing all the different cultures that come into the building, but then trying to put them in together. And so we changed the uniform. And so they have the yellow high-vis version of this shirt, and obviously the tutors have the black version of it. But then we also have, which the Building Academy had kind of never been before, and that's kind of why we try and push for leadership within the Building Academy, as they were never looked as ever being prefects or being on that sort of level of leadership. A lot of our guys are like, I wouldn't see myself as a prefect. I'm like, yo, don't worry, we're gonna work to that. We're gonna get to that point. And we've been really lucky. I think we've had over 5 of our guys become prefects, whether it's the academy prefect or cultural prefect. And so, yeah, it's been really awesome to kind of have that sort of caliber coming out of our academy now. And so a lot of teachers in the school don't look at the academy as that anymore, and it's kind of changed it, and they're kind of like seeing more leaders come out of Building Academy, and they're like, nah, it's a different environment now. So it's kind of huge.
That's
seeing
cool,
all those different things come out of.
Why are you so passionate? Like, because I can tell, like, just from talking to you even off air and now, like, the kids come through, they learn skills, they learn how to become builders, or like the first stage is becoming a builder. They learn elements of building a house. Why is it so important to you to pour into these guys on a more like a deeper level, teaching them mindset, teaching them leadership? Why is that so important to you? Where does that come from?
I think it's, I guess it's a lot of it can be my faith, and just kind of being, why am I here, and what's my purpose? And I kind of, like I sort of explained to a lot of families and our kids, I've seen 2 sides of the world, and also been through school myself. I was a real rugby focused type of kid at school. I think I made it through 7th form at Mags pretty much just on rugby, and that was all that I kind of had. And then obviously leaving school, it was kind of rugby that kind of I looked for and did stuff around that, overseas and that. But then when I came back and then went into the force, you see things that you shouldn't see, but also you kind of, the youngest I ever locked up was 8 years old. And it was kind of like, it ranged from 8 to 17, 18. And it was kind of one of those things. And I know a lot of my mates are still in the force and they're still having to deal with that. But there was just, and I've talked to a few guys just recently, and and they're seeing what I'm doing now, and they're kind of like, man, it's kind of one of those things. When you're in the force, there's only so much you can do.
You're like the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's only so much you can do for our young people and our kids in our generation at the moment. And so, with my wife and her passion and service that she loves to do with young people and kids, pretty much. Yeah, it's one of those things that's just ingrained in both our lives, that kind of, this is your purpose, this is where you are. And so, yeah, seeing young kids being locked up and putting them in the back of the van or back of a paddy wagon, you're kind of like, man, dropping them off at home and that's it. To where, like I said, my wife said she brought me into the school purposely for a few of the kids. I remember her first year. There was a big riot at school that she was there for, and she was on the phone to me, and I was at work, and I was like, man, you get away from that. But then actually, when she brought me into the school, it was kind of like to work with the kids that she knew that needed a bit more help in that life. So yeah, it was kind of just something that, yeah, when I see the kids and just being able to help them, it's I don't know, it's just, I want to help. It used to be when I first started, I wanted to save the kids. And then I kind of realized it wasn't saving, it was helping. How do I guide these kids into a place where they can do something that's going to be successful? And I think a lot of our kids just need pathways opened up for them. And so I pretty much say to the kids at the beginning of the year, look, I can open as many doors as I can for you, and I'll try my best as much as I can. I'll bring as many people in as I can to help support you. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to walk through that door. I can't do the walking for you. So I guess my passion is just kind of serving and helping as much as I can to get these kids from different pathways into purpose. And so, yeah, we've had so many different kids come through this building academy, or even just through school in general. We have so many different backgrounds. We have, kids that are coming from, and there's nothing wrong with it, coming from gang families, coming from domestic violence type of families, and a lot of these kids are bringing that to school, and they can carry it on their shoulders, and you can see it on their shoulders, and you're like, yo, let that go. It's okay. Let's try and see if we can find something that'll help you be more successful. And we've got so many stories through so many kids. I used to have one kid that used to take the CrossFit with me, and he'd wear all the colors, and it was fine. We were just like, yeah, all good. But then just slowly working through fitness and CrossFit and that, you just slowly started to see someone else come out. And it was someone that was, and there's nothing wrong with it, they just became someone that was driven and had purpose, and they wanted to do something with their life, and it was really cool. And now he's doing amazing. He's over in Aussie. He's doing so much good in his life, and it's just trying to give these kids more purpose. And I think that's my passion. It's just trying to help as much as I can, where I can. And
yeah. It's funny, I'm just like thinking about that, about purpose, and even like the kids joining gangs and things. I think it's almost like if they don't sort of have an individual kind of reason, for being here, that's why they sort of join someone else's kind of purpose. That's why people love to sometimes join. And I don't think there's anything wrong with joining communities and things like that. But I think it's a good thing in general. But I think there's been people are super lost or they don't have their own thing going on. Yeah. That's when they sort of they're easy for the taking, for a gang to come in and say, join us. We have a bigger purpose here. Yeah. Come join us, what we're doing. So I think it's cool that you're sort of helping them do that. I think that's really cool. And that probably gives you a bit more of a spring in your step, when you wake up in the morning. It's not just going to work and punching the ticket and going home, right?
I think, like I said, coming from, obviously policing and building and then now teaching, I've seen, and it's, and guys might not find teaching their gig, but to be honest, it's probably one of the most fun I've ever had, but also one of the funniest. Some of the things the kids do on site or just do in general will just have you laughing all day. And so, you've seen some stupid stuff, and obviously on a building site you want it to be safe and that, but they're kids at the end of the day. And
what's some of the stupidest thing you've seen outside?
I don't know if I want to say
17-year-old.
I guess it's just when they're putting timber together, and it's just like, okay, I don't even know how you got that together, but it got together. But that works. Let's see how it works. Sometimes it's even when they pick up the tool and they're calling it a skilly and it's a drill, and you're kind of like, mate, get out of here. But it's just and just the conversations that you have with the kids. It's kind of like I guess every year we adopt another 15 odd kids. And we become not so much their parents, but we become that type of figure towards them. And it's just like, we spend almost 6 hours to 8 hours with them at school. And if they come to CrossFit in the morning, it's an extra couple of hours in the morning. And then if they do other sports, you might be doing sports with them as well. So you really get to know them, and you kind of know their ins and outs and how they work. And I pretty much tell every parent that we work with, because one of the things we do before we actually get them in is we actually have interviews. So we actually sit them down like an actual business, like an actual job, and have an interview with the parents and the kids And I tell the parents, by the end of the 2 years, I'll know your kid just as well as you do, or even better. And so, yeah, that's kind of the some of the things you kind of learn from them, just the little quirks that they have. You kind of, we had one boy that was on site. His name was Skittle Boy. The reason why he was called Skittle Boy was because he carried around in his bag Skittles everywhere. So he'd have buckets and bags and he'd be handing them out like he's, and so it's just stuff like that that sort of, make your job more fun when you're there.
Yeah, it's kind of similar because you mentioned you've been involved with CrossFit over the years and do a lot of CrossFit coaching and to a lot of the guys. I know with CrossFit, it's like a classic one where because there's so many skill set elements to it, like Olympic weightlifting or rope climbs and things like that, or handstands. But there's so many elements where people do a bunch of stuff that they never thought they'd be able to do, and like they get all, you can see that light bulb go off, and they all like, they do their first like muscle up, or they do their first rope climbs. My wife just did her first rope climb the other day, actually. And she came home all like chuffed, But you must get a lot of that, with these guys, because like they may not see that in themselves, to be able to do, they've never been around productive environment, and then they come and they able to kind of put an element together or to frame up a wall or something, and they just kind of you must get that same thing. Surely.
Yeah, pretty much. You kind of get that. I mean, the first week, you definitely know who the new kids are on the block because they grab their hammers all by the end of the choke and they're trying to hammer a nail, and you're like, oh mate, give me that hammer, hold on to it probably. So that's kind of the real cool thing, is kind of seeing them from doing absolutely don't have a clue how to use a hammer to being someone that can wield it and know what they're doing and whack a nail in one hit, and and being able to use the tools and also just kind of have I think when we go to finish the houses, so what we try and do is year 13s are with us for about 1 year and then about 3 terms, and then term 4 they're off at work, and then our year 12s kind of stay for the last term, and they do a lot of the finishing. So it's real cool to see the year 12s not know anything in term 1 to starting to see, okay, term 2, they're starting to know what they're doing. They're working on their own. Term 3, these guys are actually doing most of the work by themselves now. And then term 4, they're the only builders on site. And so when we're doing door locks and finishing stuff, it's like, okay, we're putting the trust in these year 12s and being able to see them, put a door handle in, or, put some shelving in, and it's all, cut to measurement. There's not many mistakes happening. It's all the finishing look to the actual house. It's kind of like, okay, guys, this is the finished look. There's no paint job after this. This is it. There's no plastering around this. You got to get this right. And so, it's real cool to kind of see that. And then when the year 13s do leave, you kind of see the year 12s kind of step up, and you're kind of like, oh, shucks, we're now the seniors on site. We're the
big guns.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it is. You kind of do see that progress through the year. And then year 13, same thing. You kind of see the term 1, they just maybe need a little bit of a refresher, and then boom, they're off. And it's kind of like term 2, all right, I need you guys to step up the pace. And then term 3, it's kind of like, you need to be at full tilt now. And then so that when they go to work, they're ready for it. And it's kind of cool when I've gone out to sites and seen the guys and seen what they're doing, and the guys will send me videos and just show me what the work they're doing. And I'm like, oh man, that's so awesome. It's, it's pretty cool to see in that. Yeah.
It's cool, eh? What do you, what sort of advice, I guess, or insights can you give construction business owners, building business owners out there with the young generation coming through? We always talk here in the office about the different generations. Yeah. You got the boomers, they got their vibe, and the millennials have their vibe, and then you got the Gen Z, the Zoomers, and then who's after? Is it Alpha or something after that?
I think so. Yeah.
What sort of insights can you give guys around the sort of the 17, 18-year-olds of today coming through? What motivates them? What drives them? How do they see the world? Is there any sort of insights you can give us to those guys?
To be honest, they're just like any other, I guess, any of us. Problem is I think the thing is that it's just more achievable than it used to be. I guess from our generation, when we started working, it was like $4 or $5 an hour. To where now the generation, it's like you're getting $25, $29 an hour, and they're coming to me like, sir, I'm on $25, and I'm like, what the heck? So it's that type. I guess that's, it's for me, it's just being patient. And I think even builders get a little bit confused how the heck that we do that, because, there's usually on a building site, you only have maybe one, maybe two apprentices. You're not going to have 15 to 20 of them to one builder. So that's kind of I think if it wasn't like something for businesses, builders and that are wanting to hire kids at that age, it's just being patient, and then giving them the opportunity to fail. I think a lot of guys have that perception of everything has to be perfect. And yeah, I guess in construction it needs to be, because obviously there's a high standard, someone's paying you, and the kids need to learn that, hey, my boss is getting paid for this job, I need to make sure, and he's paying me. So that's one of the things that the kids kind of learn in the building academy as well, is like, okay, at the moment you're not getting paid to do this work, you're doing this for knowledge, you're doing this because you need to learn this stuff. Now when you go into work, you're going to get paid, so the boss is going to be expecting something from you. And so I think with a lot of business owners and builders and that, they just need to have patience with them and give them a chance, give them an opportunity to try, allow them to fail. And I think that's something that we've learned in the building academy, is we've encouraged the failing. But if you teach them right, they won't fail.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that guys get wrong. They don't teach them, they just expect them to know.
Yeah.
And I think it's being able to be teachable as well, and just being able to, hey, how does that kid work? And I think as a builder, it's kind of being open to learning from the kids as well, how they work, how they operate. I think a lot of older builders, like we used to have on site, where this is my way or the highway. And it's still there a little bit from a lot of conversations I have with a few of the kids, and they're like, oh man, sir, we can't do that. If we do that, we're going to get this. And I think that that's where the mindset needs to shift to, especially with the young generation coming through. Yeah, we're not, they're probably not as, as resilient as what, a lot of the older generation were, where they came from, nothing to, earning $3 to $5 to $300 a week, where these kids are earning like $1,000 a week. And to them, it's a lot of money. But to us, as, who have homes or, families and that, it's not that much. But yeah, I think just a little bit of patience goes a long way with these kids, and just allowing to actually learn. And I guess the probably key word is building a relationship with them. And so, yeah, it's one of those things that we try and do every year. By the end of the year, obviously by the end of the year, the year 12s, we kind of know what they're like. But when they first walk in, they're green. They don't know anything. But everybody, I guess, as a builder, if I was hiring someone now, it would be a bit different. Before, I probably would have been a little bit more like, you need to do this, 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 and this. You need to sweep the floor, pick up the gear, do this. Where now it's kind of like, hey, man, what do you like? What's your family? Who's your family? Those sort of things.
Yeah.
So we try and do, like I said, we try and base everything around the different cultures that are within the Building Academy. Last year we had a big Tongan community, so it was real, MMT. But because my family and my wife are Samoan, and some of the things that we've teaching through Samoan culture is we do a thing called the va.
Okay.
So the va is kind of something that connects us to each other. So for like myself and you, we had a connection. We used to run a store that I used to know about through CrossFit. So that kind of connects us a little bit. And obviously, the Builders Academy, they've got a connection with you that kind of connects us together. So we try and find within our new crew, we try and run the VAR. So we kind of have a string exercise. So we run a string through everybody. We introduce ourselves, where we come from, what are our goals for ourselves within the Building Academy. And some of the kids will just be like, oh, I just want to get through to year 13. Like, yeah, cool, that's a goal. Let's put it in the box. And so we have like a kit there, and everybody writes down their goals or what they want to do, or what they want to see in the Building Academy. And then basically we weave this net between everybody. And then eventually you have kind of, it's like a web.
Yeah.
And then basically we'll put the goals and everything in the center of it. And then everybody has to pull the string tight, and then it lifts it up and we hold it up together. And that's where we start to learn about each other, and we start to say, hey, if we can hold each other up and help each other through this, we'll get through together. And I think it's that relationship side of with these kids, especially at Massey High School. I've been to other schools, and Massey definitely has its own culture. They have their own style, and I mean, other schools have their own style, but I think the one thing that we can say is that it's building that relationship between you and the young one.
Yeah.
And once you've got that relationship with them, those kids and any kids will do anything for you. And it's kind of like, okay, cool. My guys will, a lot of my builders, like over the years, if we've had to do functions or we've done where we've had to serve others in that, if I say, hey man, we've got to be here at 5 o'clock in the morning, yo, we'll be there, sir. I'm like, cool. We've got a function till about 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, we'll be there, sir. We're all good. And I think that's where some of our builders, when they're bringing in young generation, need to start with build a relationship with them. Because once you got that relationship, they'll do anything, and they don't have to be paid. And I think that's the thing that like you got to realize. None of our building academy kids get paid for building these houses. They do it all for the knowledge. And if I can get kids at year 12 and year 13 to build these houses without being paid, when you're paying them, you can get them to do 100 times what they can actually do.
Yeah.
So it's just, I
That's
guess.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of builders would I don't even know if a lot of them would know about this, but I think it's a very beneficial way. So how do we, do you guys place these kids with builders, or how can builders get in touch, or how does that work? Is there like a open communication where builders could reach out to Massey or?
Yeah, so it's pretty much, it's an open door, so people can come in and visit us, or they can come out to Massey and sort of say, hey, look, we're looking for some builders and that. We do try and make sure that, so what we try and do is have the year 13s for the first 3 terms, and then term 4, we send them out. Because obviously we've got to make sure that they get their credits and they obtain all their credits that they need to do. And it usually takes us about, 3 to almost 3.5, just depending on the kid. But majority of the time, we then start sending them out to work experience or work itself in term 4, so that way they can spend their last few weeks prepping just before Christmas, and then it's kind of like over Christmas they've got a job to work through. A little bit hard to kind of keep them till term 4, but yeah, businesses, builders can come through. They can, obviously call the school and get hold of me. I'm pretty easy to get hold of down at building, and everybody knows where we are. Once you get to learn where we are, we're just down the back of school. It's one of those things. It might be a long walk from the front, but everybody knows where the building academy is. And
that's cool.
It's real cool to kind of have that open communication with everybody.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome what you guys are doing, man. And I think it's really cool. Loving, like, keep up the good work in terms of like teaching all the leadership elements and just putting some more meaning behind it. I think the biggest struggle with a lot of builders is like isolation, you know what I mean? Because one apprentice on site, get treated like crap. Yeah. Then he goes out on his own, and then he's out on his own, and there he is, all anxious, depressed, and isolated. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the fact that you guys are building that community, building that leadership, teaching guys to aim high and to work towards not perfection, but work towards doing things right. I think that's a really, really cool thing to do. I think everyone would want to know what did an 8-year-old do that you have to arrest him?
Nah, nobody needs to know what he was up to.
Okay, we'll keep that confidential, to know basis only. But then also, before I let you go, what position did you play? Rugby.
I could play pretty much everything, but I was a front row.
Oh, cool.
I played in the front row for most of my last few years of school, and then went off and played overseas for a bit. But I think I should have. I think if I tossed between the two, when I joined the police force, I actually got into league. And actually really loved league. I kind of like once I got into it, and some of the guys that helped me in the police force that kind of got me into it, and that it was fun. Yeah, it was more fun.
Hit ups.
Yeah, I think it was just the ball was in the hand, but more. I think when you're a front row in rugby, it's kind of one job, and it's in the ruck or in the scrum, the lineouts, and you're just kind of like literally doing all that. And I guess the old school way was that. But I kind of enjoyed league more. It was kind of a bit more open and a bit more space to run around in. So
yeah. Well, league's definitely a lot more popular, I think, at the moment than union. So, but yeah, Luke, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, and keep doing the good work.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.